Hi, do you know what is jaundice and how it is caused? Well, in today's video, we will be discussing about jaundice, its causes, and what are the various clinical manifestations that are associated with various types of jaundice. And to begin with, we already know that jaundice is a clinical condition that is characterized by the yellow color of skin and the sclera of your eye. This yellow color is because of the deposition of a yellow colored pigment called bilirubin under your skin, and it's mainly due to the elevated levels of bilirubin in the human serum. That's why we also call jaundice as hyperbilirubinemia. Now, where does this bilirubin come from and why does it get elevated in the human serum? To understand this, let's have a look on the metabolism of bilirubin and how it is produced. Now, the entire process actually starts with RBCs, the red blood cells, that have a lifespan of 120 days. Once the RBCs complete their lifespan, the RBCs get buried in the spleen. That's why spleen is called as the graveyard of RBCs. Inside the spleen, once the RBCs are degraded, we already know that RBCs have a pigment called as hemoglobin in them. During the degradation of RBCs, the hemoglobin is broken apart to release its heme part and the globin part separately. Globin is a protein which is further degraded to release its individual amino acids that are later on used in the body for other processes. Coming back to heme. Heme is an iron-containing compound which is acted upon by an enzyme called heme oxygenase and converted into a green-colored pigment called biliverdin. Once the biliverdin is formed, it is further acted upon by biliverdin reductase, which is another enzyme present in the spleen, and converted into a yellow-colored pigment called as bilirubin. Now, we already know that bilirubin is a yellow-colored pigment that is actually synthesized in liver. This bilirubin needs to be eliminated from the body, and there is only one way for the elimination, that is the circulation. But bilirubin is actually insoluble in water. That is why a protein called as albumin is associated with the bilirubin to form bilirubin-albumin complex. This entire process is carried out in blood, and we refer this bilirubin as unconjugated bilirubin. Now, once the unconjugated bilirubin is formed, it is directly transported to the liver where the bilirubin is conjugated to form bilirubin diglucuronide, and we call this bilirubin as conjugated bilirubin. Now, the conjugated bilirubin is transported to the intestines where the bilirubin is converted into two pigments, the urobilin and the stercobilin. Urobilin is excreted in urine and it gives urine its characteristic yellow color, where the stercobilin is excreted in feces and gives feces its characteristic brown color. There are three main types of jaundice that actually affect a human body. The very first type of jaundice is what we call as hemolytic jaundice. As the name indicates, hemolytic is a condition where there is increased degradation of the RBCs. Why does this occur? It's mainly in the conditions like malaria, like sickle cell anemia, and sometimes due to the incompatible blood transfusion. RBCs get degraded more and more, and as a result, more and more bilirubin is formed. Once more and more bilirubin is formed, it is beyond the capacity of the liver to be conjugated. And as such, there are elevated levels of unconjugated bilirubin in the human serum. There is another type of jaundice, and we call that jaundice as hepatic jaundice, and we are more familiar with this term. Hepatic jaundice is actually a jaundice that is associated with the liver dysfunction. Basically, what happens is some toxins, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, etc., they might affect the liver cells and destroy them. And as a result, there are elevated levels of unconjugated and the conjugated bilirubin in the human serum. This is what we call as hepatic jaundice. And the very last type of jaundice is obstructive jaundice. What happens in obstructive jaundice is your liver is unable to excrete the conjugated bilirubin. Why does this happen? It mostly occurs because of the presence of gallstones in the liver or the bile canaliculi. As a result, more and more conjugated bilirubin levels are present in the human serum. We refer this condition as obstructive jaundice. And this was all about jaundice. Thank you so much.